So if we actually have.
You have reached area code 313.
All my live niggas in the 313.
What's going on, y'all? Shout out to my man DJ Los, internationally known, one of our local legends here. Appreciate you, bruh, as always. Like to welcome you to another edition of No Fan Sports Podcast, man. I'm your host, New Simple NEW, man. That's what I go by. And oh my goodness, we had two games, man. It was AFC and NFC championship games, man. Boy, oh boy. And if you was with me the other day when I made the last podcast, I had predicted. I was looking at 49ers Ravens Super Bowl, and well, the Ravens got popped by KC, and hell, Lions should have been in the Super Bowl. But we go get into that. They should be playing in the Super Bowl. We go get into that. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of buzz. I know I've made several comments on the matter, and I'm sticking to it. We go get into that a little bit later. But let me go ahead and knock this off real quick. Hold on, where we at? Let me get where we at. Okay. As usual, okay. No Fan Sports Podcast is providing this podcast as a public service, but it is neither a legal interpretation nor a statement of No Fan Sports Podcast policy. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or a recommendation by No Fan Sports Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity that they represent. Views and opinions expressed by myself are those of my own, and do not necessarily reflect the view of No Fan Sports Podcast of any of its officials. And also, we will do copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, scholarship, research, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips to balance and fair use. And we got to go over to the, man, this is the mission statement in itself, man. What we go talk about today, because like I touched on earlier when we first got in here, the Detroit Lions should be playing in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, and I'm it's just one simple reason. Okay, but let me say this, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. This is No Fan. You know the fan is. The groupie slappy thing. Okay. All right. It says No Fan, a fan groupie slappy free zone. We here at No Fan are dedicated not just to the analytics, metrics, and the statistics. Analytics, and statistics. Make sure we keep in mind those things that are part of any given sport, but also the non-measurables. That can and doesn't get recognition on the stat sheet. Things like heart, mental tenacity, drive, hunger, and etc. As well as being able to understand the difference between athleticism versus athletic skills / fundamentals. Instead of being caught up like a deer in the highlights, as you all over his or her physical gifts from above. Yeah, that's fan talk. No, we don't do that here. We speak of X's and O's that many of you mistake for hate. We're going to start out with like I said, it was only two games. You had Chiefs that was coming to visit Baltimore. Baltimore number one seed. This is the second time they've been the number one seed and ended up getting bumped out of there. I think KC bumped them last year too. I can't remember. But anyway, what I seen in that game, the problem I seen, it's been a lot of Lamar's been catching a lot of backflash for this. The memes been coming out of him. They disguise as Dak Prescott. We can talk about him. They probably got some similar, because they haven't showed up or haven't been able to push their team past that next level, you know, in that big game. So that does show a lot of similarities there. But what I've seen in that Baltimore and that Chiefs game, one thing for sure, and I think I may have said this before, Patrick Mahomes, breathing, living, still able to function and move. The man is crafty. Okay, he crafty. He gets it done. He's a gamer. However, it just gets done, you know. And it seems like the team has come, you know, has kind of gelled back together. Pieces probably came back, and their defense was even playing really snappy. You know, defense wasn't looking like that at the beginning of the year. They looking like a number one defense, you know what I'm saying? And that did a lot, you know. I kept Lamar off base a little bit. They had some tight coverage out there in these zones and different things like that. And if anything that I probably had a problem with Lamar, I think especially I think it was a 3rd and 1 in that second half, in that third quarter, where I thought he should just tucked it. You know, he sat back there a long time. Thought he should just tucked it and took off and got the first down. I think he spent more time trying to prove he can pass the ball than he did just go ahead and just playing the game like he would normally do. So I just thought he was thinking a little bit too much. But aside for that, the similarities, what I see with the Baltimore Ravens, they had the same problem that the Dallas Cowboys have. Exact same problem. And I think that was this problem was more detriment to them losing than I would put all the onus on Lamar Jackson. Not just because Lamar, my man, I still think he should be the MVP. I still think he's leaps and bounds and has proved so many things to all the naysayers and different things like that. He's still my guy. But I wouldn't put that one on him. The problem that they have is just like that of the Dallas Cowboys. And what I mean by that is that the discipline, the lack of discipline. You have plays, drive stopping, you know, plays that you end up getting penalties on and forced to play another down. And these teams end up going on and moving on with the ball and different things like that. And you coming up, you know, you end up falling up short. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. And the Ravens had several of those plays. They had several plays where penalties, dumb penalty. I mean, Vanoy caught an unsportsmanlike having words with Travis Kelce. And I don't know. I think I heard some talk about they were talking a lot of, you know, banter back and forth in the beginning of the before the game. And it was clear at this particular time. And like I said, it's one of the things, Baltimore, lack of defense, Miami Cowboys, penalties. They take yourself out the game. And it was clear that, you know, Kelce or whoever, they had got under their skin, man. And it was just an argument. It was just he played them like a violin, like violinist, and they fell for it. And you've seen a lot of the Roquan Smith had offsides, you know, it was just crazy. Clowny, unnecessary roughness, the club to the face. It was just too many penalties to work yourself out of. And like I said, that's one of the similarities with the Dallas Cowboys. Aside for, you know, the fact that you're playing KC, you're playing a healthier KC, a more season in KC, and it's Patrick Mahomes back there. So it's gonna be a fight any way you go. So you're gonna have to stay on your P's and Q's in order to keep that done. And they fell short. So I'm not sure what their plan is. I think they'll be okay. Just get back. You know, Baltimore just got to get back there and regroup and put that package back together. And I think you'll see same thing. It'll be in the hunt next year, just the same. Might even add some more depth. They can use another fresh body receiver over there, maybe, you know, some defensive players too here and there. But they should be back in the thick of things once the next season begin. So Chiefs are moving on. Got Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be hard to pick against them. And they'll be facing the 49ers. They'll be facing the 49ers that squeaked past the Detroit Lions. Hey, when you get a chance, get over there to it's at NoFanTV20 on YouTube and hit the like, subscribe, and notification button. That'll let you know when we getting live over here. Leave some comments, drop some comments. Let me know you was there a day late and dollar short, man. We get at you, get them comments in, start chuckling it up a little bit. But yeah, so we had the 49ers and the Lions, and and again, I didn't pick the Lions. I felt the 49ers were going to beat them. But the Lions showed something totally different, man. Their first two drives, they came down and scored touchdowns. But we knew that the Detroit Lions, the offensive line, the offense was just, they top 5 from what I understand. They top 5 in NFL, and it's well deserving because they, it proved to San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco couldn't stop them. Couldn't stop them to the tune that, in my opinion, it was shocking. And like I said, I'm a Detroiter, born and raised, born on the corner of Tuxedo and Webb. I got off the Detroit Lion bandwagon back in the late 70s, early 80s. Haven't been back, haven't looked back. But one of the reasons why I just fell so out of love with my own local Detroit Lions is what I'm about to talk about shortly with Dan Campbell. The Detroit Lions was taking it to Frisco. Held them 7 points in the first half. You go into halftime 24-7. In my opinion, I didn't see many adjustments that they had to make. Aaron Glenn was calling a hell of a defensive game. Defense was playing well. Obviously, they held the mighty San Francisco 49ers to 7 points. They had a lot of pressure, put some decent amount of pressure on Purdy. And that was one of my game plans for me. If the Lions were to beat the 49ers, I felt that they need to make, Purdy uncomfortable. Don't let him get into a rhythm, which they did for the most part. And it went well off into the halftime, Purdy more or less a pocket passer. But the funny thing, though, second half, he came out and he started running around a little bit. But that was after the fact. So Lions first half pretty much did what they want, moved the ball at will, had no, San Francisco couldn't do anything with them. I think at one point they was averaging 7 yards a carry or more. It was just a behind whipping from the word go. And at this particular stage, I'm sitting there looking. We've never seen this before. I'm over half a century, but I've never seen a Lion team take it to this degree where it looks like they actually got a hope, and we actually seeing this. So we witnessing this at this particular time, at this particular stage. If you hate them, if you don't rock with them, even though you from here, you still happy in a way, because it's like, oh my goodness, they right there. So halftime, it's like, okay, they ain't good in halftime. And they up 3 scores. All they got to do is just continue to do what they're doing. Even though the 49ers were going to, was set to receive the ball in the beginning of the third quarter, that didn't really make a difference to me, because I'm like, okay, they get the ball, but you guys playing well. You playing well. And wait a minute, where we at? Hold on. Okay. So yeah, you playing well. Baltimore gets them. They get the ball. I'm not Baltimore. The 49ers get the ball for the first possession coming out after the half, which was cool. I didn't have any problems with that, because, even if they scored, Detroit had, they hadn't had any problem scoring. They scoring at will. They're doing what they want to do at this particular time. So it's no big deal. You still got the momentum on your side. Defense was playing well. So even if Detroit scores, you just continue to do what you've been doing, and everything is okay. So when the 49ers came out, Detroit held them just to a field goal, which was great. That's cool. They scored, but you held them to a field goal. They didn't get 7, So they still know that, the 49ers know they're in for a dogfight. They still got 2 more scores to put down. And the main scores, they need 7. They need 14. So we had both teams had 1%. Okay, let me just put it like this. You're getting a lot of people that's the argument is social media argument, and especially the local argument here too, is that, so you got a lot of people talking about the drop balls, the fumble, just the kind of collapse that they had in the second half, But here's to me the difference. And my problem is, and it's got to the point where I just like, couldn't type no more because it was the same thing. That L is on Dan Campbell. I titled this Riverboat Dan Campbell. Some people been going around calling him Dan Gamble. And I've said this time and time again, any post I may have made in social media, any podcast that I've done of late, that you can't, first of all, they've been gambling all year, and you hear and talk about, well, they've been doing it all year, why stop now? I've seen the analytic version of how often that they have went for it and it's been successful. I think out of 25 times they've been successful 20, which is great. That's great, on these conversions and different things. But here's the problem with the analytic portion of that. And I remember when I said when we first started, just make sure you pay attention to the analytic part. The analytics says that looks in the metrics, analytics, and the measurements on paper, it sounds real good, but it doesn't show, were those times that you went for these fourth downs, fake punts, and all these little gambles, were they necessary? What was the reason? And I'm adding this current game as well that they played yesterday. Like I said, both teams had a possession. The first possessions of the second half. 49ers marched down, came away with a field goal. Detroit Lions possession, they marched down, was in field goal range, but Dan Campbell elected to go for it on fourth down. Now, I'm sitting here watching this, and my first thing in my mind is just take the points. You take the 3 and snatch that 3 they just put up on the board, you snatch it right back down. And it's still a 3-score game. I think it was about 8 minutes left in the third quarter. The clock is in your favor. Momentum is in your favor. Defense playing well. Offense is playing lights out. Take the 3 and just put it back into a 3-score, frame again. Well, Dan decided to do what he was going to do, and he went for it on fourth down. They came up short. And this is where I think the difference is between me and everyone else that's out here speaking about, well, the players, it wasn't all on Dan, the players dropped the ball and all this kind of stuff. See, for me, once they came up short on that fourth down play, which was unnecessary, because the only things you go gain from, you gain probably 2 things from this, which would have been great, but the stuff that you but I think it just wasn't worth the reward. So you probably gain, if you would have kept the ball and you made the fourth down play, you either get 3 points or 7 points. You get to 7, you put 4 more points on the board. So you had the possibility of getting 4 extra points. And also eating up some more clock, which, like I said, the clock is not in their favor. And plus, you put points on the board. You don't get the first down. Then you got a team that's down. They had just came in out of the half, and went down and scored right away. And the mojo is ready, and they fired up and they ready to go. So you go down, you instead of you just taking a field goal, which would have put it back to a 3-score game, clock still on your side, momentum was on your side. They didn't. Gave San Francisco a short field. They took advantage of it. And not only did Dan Campbell do this once, he did it twice. Fourth downs when in field goal range. Put points on the board. But here's the problem, and what everyone else talking about. Well, they dropped these passes and Goff did this. See, for me, the game was over after that first fourth down attempt, and it went awry. And the reason why I say it was over, I don't think it's karma. I don't want to call it karma, but what's that saying? When everything, what does go wrong, everything does go wrong. Everything does go something about everything. What can go wrong, everything will go wrong, or something like that. When shit rolls downhill, We can think of all the other, just a bunch at this particular juncture. Once the funk was in the air from not taking that field goal, which I thought was like the dumbest thing to do. When at some point when you playing this game, when you coaching this game, there's situations that come about, and you got to start dealing with situational football. So I'm the head coach. I'm counting. I'm like, okay, we playing lights out, defense playing pretty good, got a good collar on them, and my offense is moving the ball pretty well. So we come out second half, and even if they score, we got to do is just match their points. If they score, we score, or stop one. We ahead 3 scores. They in dire straits. But see what happens when you go for it, come up short, team goes back down, and they score right away to put themselves closer into the game, make it a one score game. Then the energy changes inside the body and over on the other sideline. Your energy, you're not able to do and think like you want to, and you can't run off the script that you was running off to get you to a 24-7 lead. Everybody keep talking to me about or expressing like these bad passes, and they didn't catch the ball. So-and-so didn't do this. The game was over when he elected not to go for the 3 points and went for it on fourth down and came up short. That's what you call kind of like that energy. At that point, all the energy is going to be bad. Short series after that, Gibbs fumble. I wasn't even upset with the dude because at once it started forming, everything that could go wrong will go wrong. Once it started forming and rolling, it was rolling at that point. So everything after everything every minute after that first possession that the Lions had coming into the second half, every incident, every drop ball, every fumble, every whatever it is that you all had to complain about that for those who are Lions fans. And this is the thing too, when you try to talk to some of these folks, man, and get these understandings, it was like the what they call it, like the root was, it was there. Everything after that first possession was gonna go wrong, and it did. The fumble, the drop balls, the whole deal. I didn't even pay attention to be honest with you. I didn't even pay attention to him that heavy after that because I just knew everything that was happening was supposed to happen at that particular time. And then, like I said, he turned around and elected to go for fourth down again and negated putting left points on the board. He left 6 points on the board. And it was anybody. I challenge anybody. Give me, I wanted 5, but just give me 3 strong reasons why you would go for a fourth down play in field goal range and you up 2 scores and you've been handling things pretty. The defense been playing well and the offense is, pretty much. I think they punted once or something. Why would you go for that? If somebody can give me 3 reasons, I'll just take 3. Leave me in the comments. We can discuss them. Hit me up, inbox me, whatever. Give me 3 strong reasons why that makes sense. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. Because see, if you kick the field goal, that means they came out, kicked the field goal. You came out, kicked the field goal. You still up 3 scores. The pressure goes back and still remains on San Francisco. Once we elected to go for the fourth, once the Lions elected to go for the Campbell made the decision to go for it on fourth down, that brought life. That brought life to the side. You seen it. You watched it, and it floated right on over. And the rest is history. At the end of the day, there was no reason not to take the points. I've been hearing conversation about they don't trust their kicker. He doesn't trust his kicker. Yada, yada. Just excuses and excuses and excuses for days, except for the real excuse. The real excuse is that the head coach made probably arguably one of the most bonehead decisions ever. And I've been arguing and debating all year long that what you all call being aggressive, I call being that we've been wrapping up. They've been wrapping up in aggression. It's been just foolishness. It's been, it's been foolish. And when it's like a shootout, eventually you got to load it. You get after a while, you get away for a while with that, and then, finally you got to pay the piper. You got to pay the price. Finally caught up with and something that was just totally unnecessary. I seen no value in going for the fourth down. I seen no need for it. Your offense is running like a fine-tooth comb. And all you had to do is just play the game. You could have just played it straight by the books and would have walked yourself right into the Super Bowl. But right, like I said, shortly thereafter, and that's when the wheels fell apart. So for those of you, who making the case for the drop balls and everybody didn't play right, they wasn't supposed to be in that position. The head coach put them in that position. Now, granted, they're professionals and men and whatever, and they're supposed to stand up and man up to whatever, but their head coach put them in that position. That, again, for me, arguably the worst decision I've ever seen. Worst. Now, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there because we know what happened to Ray Rose after one season. Never seen him again. But I'm not gonna go there. That was just utterly ridiculous, and they paid for it, and they paid for it, and rightfully so. And I hope he didn't sleep good. I hope the plane ride was uncomfortable for him. I hope he catch a migraine about the decision that he made. I didn't even bother about watching any after game talk conversations. I didn't bother about. I think I watched or heard a piece of his explanation for why he went for it on fourth down. I don't even care, because if you just take the field goal, and you make it back a 3-score game, and the pressure and time not on San Francisco side. But old Brock Purdy caught fire. Something I've been questioning why he hadn't done a long time ago. He tucked and ran a couple, which caught the Lions off guard. And not only just caught them off guard, but Lions have a lot of similarities as the Dallas Cowboys on defense. They need some pieces: a defensive tackle, linebacker, a DB. These things are needed, needed right away. Okay. Right away. But they right there, man. And overall, and not to keep badging on my man Campbell, but I'm very disappointed. You got a lot of people that's just excited, the fact that they were able to get this far. And yes, that was great. That was a great thing. But I think he's taking you as far as you can go, as he can take you. And it showed with his decision making. That was a terrible coaching decision. I would be more in tune with them moving on without him. Just my opinion, because I don't think he has the wit to get them past where they're going. They losing their offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. He's taking the job over in Washington. And I guess it's a strong chance you might be back to Campbell calling plays, which I didn't think was that great. And that's where all this gambling came from, man. If you take somebody down to the casino, you tell them they got a gambling problem, man, you take them down, you need to send them. This man needs to see Gambling Anonymous. He gambled away. Yeah, people here that at least that are still breathing. You have people here that hadn't seen anything in about 60 years. I'm a 50-year, ain't seen anything in 50. And yesterday was a day that could have made a lot of dreams come true for a lot of people. And it just didn't materialize because of Lil Karma come with a bad decision made by your head coach. And he's proven that, and people not paying attention to when he's doing these particular things. And they just keep, like I said, they just keep putting that like cute little being aggressive bow on them. But they're bonehead decisions, fourth down decisions on your side of the ball. I mean, that's almost literally like a no matter what, unless you playing from behind. But he does stuff like this, and they'll be ahead and have control of the game, which makes no sense. You controlling and doing what you will, you go put up enough points as it is. You don't have to fake nothing. But this is what he does. And it's been, you have too many people that's comfortable with him actually doing these things. But I'm for one, I don't favor it. And I don't understand why everybody keeps allowing this to go through like this. And they, so now, naturally they want to keep him around. They cited the fact that they got this far, and that's enough for a lot of people here. And they still think he's the dude. But when you make decisions like that, that was just one decision one person made that really it literally cost them a trip to the Super Bowl. They should be in the Super Bowl if it weren't for their head coach, Dan Campbell. Love him as a motivator. Will, he got that fight, that tenacity, that will, and you can see it obviously rubbed off on the, on the team or what have you, but just not the brightest bulb in the bunch. That was just real bad. You can't make that make sense to me. It's no scenario you can draw out to make that make sense to me. You can't make it make sense. Only way that decision makes sense is if some of those people that believe, or those that believe in the fix and all those different things, that's what he was told to do. That's the only way you can make that make sense. Well, yeah, they told me to do that. Well, okay. But that's not the case. Okay. So you came up short. Think you got a little gambling habit. Might want to check into Gambling Anonymous to get yourself together. Too many, not the proper time or place. They say it ain't the time or place. And, I hang this one on the shoulders of the head coach of the Detroit Lions. This on Dan Campbell. Very, 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 very disappointing. This is on Dan Campbell. And for you all out here, you got to start holding some folks' feet to the fire, man. Yeah, he was the person that got you here, got you there thus far. But when somebody show you what they say, when somebody show you who they are, you believe them. Okay, well, that little cute, aggressive stuff that y'all been wrapping up in the bow, it just showed you who he was. Can't do that. Can't do that. Look here. Like I said, get a chance, get over there. It's at NoFanTV20 on YouTube. Hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Share this video. Share everything. Get at me. Look in the descriptions. That's how you can get at me. Help the channel out too. Everything. So we got one more game left. This is, like I said this before too, all the time, man. This is the most bittersweet time of the year. We got one more game left. I'm not exactly sure who I'm riding with just yet, but we probably gonna end up doing something definitely. I think the day of the Super Bowl, probably earlier that day in the Super Bowl, we're gonna have a little discussion real quick. Try to keep it as short as possible. Yeah, but I'm gonna get down. I have my prediction on who I think I'm gonna rock with. Right now, it's kind of up in the air. And be honest with you, I'm leaning towards Kansas City, to be honest. For one, on the hater mission, and for two, just seems like KC's defense then came alive, man. So I'm gonna go back and look at some of these highlights, and both for both the Niners and the Chiefs. Just look at some of them highlights, man, and see. But if I had to pick right now I am leaning on KC. Okay. Again, I'm your host, man. I go by Newt, just Simple W. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Like I said, if you get a chance, you didn't catch this live, leave a comment, man. Let me know you was there day late and $1 short, man. I'll get at you. Peace.